This episode of the Gamerheads Podcast is brought to you by Seven Bridges Premium Gourmet Yum Yum Sauce. Enhance every bite with our savory blends of flavors, perfect for meats, vegetables, and crispy treats. Whether you're dipping, drizzling, marinating, grilling, roasting, or snacking, Seven Bridges Yum Yum Sauce takes your culinary experience to the next level. Get yours today and make every meal a gourmet delight.
Hi, I'm Celia Schilling from Yacht Club Games.
Hey, this is James from Megacat Studios.
Hey folks, this is Matt, aka Stormageddon from Reignite and the Fun and Games Podcast.
This is Stephanie from the Boss Rush Podcast and the Boss Rush Network.
Hey, this is Mark and Keon from Bunte Avond.
Hey, this is Sebastian with the ProNerdReport.com and the Single Player Experience Podcast.
Hi, this is Chris.
Mike.
And Garrett from Daylight Basement Studio.
Hey, this is Baron J67 from Level 1 Gaming.
Hi, I'm Jacob McCourt from the Left Behind Game Club, Crossplay Conversations, and Video Game Trivia.
Hey, this is Todd Mitchell from Code Right Play.
Salutations, this is Mike Carroll from Stroll Art.
Hey, this is Jeff Moonen from Fun and Games Podcast.
What's good, y'all? This is Adam from Respawn Aimfire.
Hey, this is Patrick from the Backlog Odyssey.
Hey, this is Rune from Runic Codes.
Hi, this is Andrew from Spalato Bros.
Hi, everyone. Jill Grote here from the Indie Informer.
Hello, this is the Crypt Master, and you're listening to Roger You're listening to Roger on the Gamerheads Podcast.
And welcome to another episode of the Gamerheads Podcast. My name is Roger. This week, I'm joined by my friend, but my friend is going to be in a different role in this episode. My friend Asa is joining me as a guest on this show, and we're talking about your game BattleVersus, which just started on Kickstarter. So, Asa, first of all, welcome to the show.
Yeah, no, thank you. People are going to be really confused by my presence now. They're like, well, okay, so last 2
time
he was
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. Okay,
no,
so
I mean last
2
2
weeks
weeks.
ago,
Last 2 weeks you were on the show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
because we recorded the man. Yeah. So what's my role going to be next time?
I don't know. You're not a cohort today. You are a guest on the show. But next time you'll be
cucumber water or fan or notes.
Nothing. Yeah. Next week you'll be back to a Checkpoint member. But this week, no. This week you are a guest. So welcome. And I already apologize, but I didn't give you these questions in advance. So this is unprofessional of me, but
and I forgot to ask, is it video? Like, are these people seeing you, or is it just hearing?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Maybe video.
If it's video, let me say this to you, humble viewer. I've got dead eyes because it's 2025. That's all you need to know. It's 2025. It's the year of ass. Yeah. I got dead eyes. I got good things to say, but today's not the day to be looking at me to get some goods. You know what I mean?
Well, I think people are going to be very excited to know more about your game, BattleVersus. So, for those that are not familiar with the game, can you give us an overview of what BattleVersus is all about?
Yes. So, BattleVersus is the world's first, and I still feel like I can claim that title, the world's first hero shooter tabletop game. For those who don't know, I originally majored in college in game design. I've always loved being creative and making things, and I always wanted to make video games. And I wanted to make a tabletop game feel like a video game, because so many people don't like tabletop games because they're so bloated. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I love tabletop, you do too, and I never want to disrespect another creative, but like, they're bloated, right? Like, there's a lot of pieces and parts, and I didn't want that. I wanted something that anybody ages 7 and up could jump in, even if you're not a tabletop fan. You can pick up and play. You know what I mean? Like, if I just saw last week in the showcase, I know we'll talk about it probably, but I didn't see the notes.
Yeah, so you don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
But somebody said chess but Fortnite, and I was like, those are 3 words that I never would have put in there. And I didn't get to talk to them, so I don't really know what they meant. But I mean, it looks like chess, and it's this Fortnite-esque thing because there's different factions. There's no like ring that gets smaller. You're not getting pickups and shit like that yet. But you are aiming to be the last person standing.
Sure.
So there is that feeling. So I guess I kind of see where they're coming from.
Yeah. And how many? So it is a faction type game where you have factions versus factions. How many people can play this game? I mean, at least 2, right? Because it'd be kind of weird to play against yourself.
You would think, but I've played it against myself because I'm making the damn thing.
Yeah.
So it can be done by yourself if you really want to. It's best optimized for 4 players.
Okay.
2 is okay if you want to do 2 factions, 1, or if you want to control 2. Like, so there's a lot of like you can kind of look at it as a modular thing and kind of play how you want. I've got verbiage on how I put it, but that's just me.
Yeah. And it is obviously you're restrained to a board game. So I mean, there is while you don't have a circle, you are in an arena of some. It's kind of an arena shooter, right?
It is very much like an arena shooter because you have the board.
Yeah,
you know, you can't really go anywhere else. And what I hope to achieve with the design of the board game, and this isn't patent, so I hope nobody steals this shit. But I've already put it out there, so it's on my Kickstarter. If you go look at it,
it kind of is that.
Yeah, a little bit. So like you can see, I said it first, but like my plan is to like have these magnets on the sides of the board, right? So like if you wanted to, you and 3 of your friends could click together 3 playing boards, and you could do like big team battle, like throw it to the Halo days and have a massive Blood Gulch sized playing field and either do the same size army or doubles the size of your army. Like there's a lot to do.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to play it yet. But I did see some of our friends play it.
Saw people playing it.
I did see people playing it. So I have some questions around that. But regards to the game, was there any specific inspiration behind the game? Any films, books, or other media that really helped shape the game?
I think the only thing that really shaped it at the time that it was created was, well, shit. I mean, a little bit of Fortnite, but only in the regard of like, that's all kids were like really talking about at the time. Overwatch was probably the biggest because in my mind, it's famously, I tell this story, but when I created this game, I worked at a summer camp, and we have calamity days. If you've worked at a summer camp or you've had kids that go, it rains, right? Yeah. So you get stuck inside, and camps notoriously have no funding. So you have the same Candyland Monopoly with no money and like Chutes and Ladders with no ladders. So like there's and tons of like Skip-Bo and things. So like
Uno, there's just missing like 8 cards or 10 cards. Right. So you can't really play it.
So there's not a lot of options, and the kids were really bored, and they're like, we want something else to do, and they were getting a little aggressive. It was scary.
And that's one of the factions then, is kids that are aggressive at camp, right? Yeah.
And I literally, I don't know why, but I was like, I've got an idea. You have to check out this new game I just heard of. And I was just, you say those things to try to get like their hype levels up. I was like, this thing is like super untested. You all got to see this. And I just was making it up on the fly. I was making it up as I went along. And I don't know if I have it down here. Yes, I do. There's a picture of it in the video on the Kickstarter, but here is the original paper. I'm not going to turn it around.
Oh, wow.
You can see it says all about me.
Yeah.
Because we would give these to the campers, and they'd fill these out and then give them to their camp counselor.
Yeah.
So then you could learn all about the kid.
Yeah.
So I grabbed this from our staff cabin, and I'm not going to turn around because there are some even though some of this stuff is a little outdated, but I was pretty spot on when I first did this
yeah.
But I just started like writing all the rules down, and I kept this because they just started loving it. But yeah, so like Overwatch was like a really big influence because that's what the kids were talking about. So we're stuck inside. All they wanted to do is play their video games. You know, they're talking about, oh, did you do this last night? Or like, what did you know, like how you would talk about games with your friends. And I wanted to have something that would compete with that. I don't know why I locked in. It was a hyperfixation. We can just call it that. I was like, I've got a game that you're not going to care about what you're doing in your video games. You're going to play this and you're going to have so much fun. And they did. Like, they kept wanting to play it even on days where it was sunny. And even once I had left the camp and I left like working at that agency, there were kids that had played it. They still wanted to play it.
That's awesome.
And so I had old coworkers, and then I was like, I've really got something, kept it, really kind of been tweaking it. So I've been making this game by myself for like the past 8 or 9 years.
Wow. And I think one of the things that probably resonates with that, and I would say this is the thing that I think resonates with Fortnite, people that play Fortnite or other games like that, it's not so much the story, but it's the funny interactions that happen during a game, right? And I think that's probably what resonates with this game with a lot of people is, oh, do you remember when, you know, we had 3 people left in our squad and we were able to somehow overcome all odds and somehow still pull it off, right? Yeah, I think that's probably, I mean, I guess that's my guess, is that's why this has resonated so well with people that have played it, because of the fact that there's tales to be told amongst your friends.
And when you asked about inspirations, that feeling is the inspiration. Like that, I used to watch a lot of developer diaries as a kid.
Yeah.
Because like I really wanted to make games.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember this Bungie one. Sorry, Bungie. They're in hot water. Back when they were making the first Halo, and I'm blanking on the developer's name, but he talked about how like their philosophy was 30 seconds of fun. If we can create the most unreal 30 seconds of fun, and that just kind of like replicates over and over, and so that has just always that has stuck with me so much. And so I wanted, like, no game is ever the same.
Yeah.
Like there are moments that are happening. And each faction plays completely different. In the base game, there's 4 factions. There's zombies, there are pirates, there's a military, and they're ninjas. Like they're all things that we recognize and we know.
Yeah.
And they all feel distinctly different. And I worked really hard to make sure that those factions also like gameplay wise feel like those factions. So like when you're playing the zombies, the rule set is made to make you feel like you are a zombie horde.
Yeah.
You know, like you can infect other players, and you can, if you roll a critical roll, you can turn that kill into increasing your army size. You know, so you're spreading the virus.
Yeah.
So you are like growing. And I've got active abilities, passive abilities, ultimates. And so it's like you get your ultimate. When are you literally the way that you play Marvel Rivals, the way that you play Overwatch for folks who still play Overwatch 2, you get your ult, and what are you doing? Like when do I pop my ult? You're coordinating with folks. And even though you're with the rules, like you're out for yourself, there's table politics.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big Magic the Gathering fan, and I feel like I kind of have the MTG of board games right now. On my hands. So like I've seen 3 people gang up on one. Let's take them out right away. Yeah. I've seen 2 people have one, and then they end up fighting in the middle, and then their truce is over. Like there's just like there's so many possibilities within any single game. And the games can go, I've seen games go 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I've seen games go 2 hours. like I've seen games go 2 minutes because everyone's just like, oh well, great, well I'm not playing with this person. So like you really just don't know what you're exactly going to get. And even if you find your main, right, like if you find your faction that this fits your play style, that still doesn't mean your experience is going to be the exact same, that your tactics will be the exact same, because who you're playing against might be different.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. The other thing that you mentioned is that the game design, you designed the game with novices and newcomers in mind.
Yes.
Can you talk about your approach to making games? What was your approach to making games accessible? And then why was it so important for you to be a goal in this game?
Initially it started off because I was making the game for kids. Like I needed to make sure that the rule set didn't like the kids didn't have to spend too much time learning how to play, because like we had just talked about, they were angry mob of children. So it was like I needed to make sure that they could understand it really fast. And that was kind of like let me just kind of keep it that way. Like I want people to just like want to, like, do you want to try it? Do you want to play it? And I think like as time went on, because, I say I've been working on this game for 8 or 9 years, and I have, but it hasn't been like 40 hours a week, 52 weeks out of the year kind of thing. No, it's been a couple months out of the year. I'll go really hard on it. I'll hyperfixate on it, and then I'll jump off because I don't have the funds or time or concentration skills. But in that time frame, I really started myself like to just really get into tabletop games, even more so. Shout out to Geek and Sundry when they had the tabletop show. That was like a big thing for me, like just checking out new games that weren't checkers and chess. And I started to notice as I was buying these box games that I'm learning how to play, wow, there's a lot of pieces in here. Like I remember watching folks play the game Pandemic, and I love Pandemic, but even that doesn't have a lot of things going on, but it's still a lot going on. And I was like, I don't want that. And even fast forwarding to now, when I'm talking to folks about what either puts you off or excites you about tabletop games, Roger, it's quite literally like the same answer all the time. They're just too much to get into. There's too many rules. I have 5 of these kinds of pieces and 10 of these kinds of pieces, and then there's currency, and then I have this player card, and then I have this sheet, and like I was like, it's too much. It's too much. So you have 2d6, and then you have your 10 player pieces, and that's it. I mean, you have your player card that all it does is it tells you what you can do. So if jumping back to like Marvel Rivals, for example, like if you hold the button after you pick a hero, it just shows you what your powers are. That's all this is. But you only need 2d6 and those playing pieces. And you're done. And you're done. Now I will say, like, I am developing other things that will add to it, but you don't need them to play. So like the base game is really just that. If you want to add the extra things, once I announce those and those come out, then you can add them, and they will add a lot of variance to the game. But you don't need them to start. You can it's jump in, jump out co-op kind of situation.
Nice. One of the coolest moments, at least I thought it was a cool moment, and I think it was a cool moment for me just because I was sitting next to you, was when your game was shown. It's the 6-1 Indie showcase.
Yeah, in the indie showcase, it was, wow.
That was awesome.
It was something. It was awesome. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you talk about that? Can you talk about your, like, what was going through your mind? Because I kept looking over at you. I don't know if you noticed that, and everybody noticed that I was looking at you because I picked up on it right away. I was like, oh, this is Ace's game. And like everybody started laughing. Kyle started laughing because he was like, look at Roger, he figured it out right away. And I kept looking over at you. Like, can you talk about like what was going through your mind at that moment?
Oh man, I was absolutely terrified. I was sweating, and not because that room was really hot.
It was very warm.
Sweating. Yeah. I was sweating purely because this is something that I've put a lot of time into. And you know, my cousin Derek, who is also a game designer, game developer, you know, took a look at it and said, hey, you really have something here. And my partner, Reagan, she's always been super supportive and has play tested it a bunch. And also is like, you know, been a big push of like, just show people what you have. Listen to Derek, show people what you have. And so I've made a couple TikToks, right? Like before I brought it to PAX West last year, I made a couple TikToks. I've talked about it, but this is different.
Yeah.
This is a showcase with other game developers. I was after Suda 51.
Yeah.
Like to have, like, I still haven't processed that my game trailer premiered in order after Suda 51. And even just like looking at all of the other, because also it's primarily about video games. So I tried to make a video game-esque trailer. The way that I made the trailer, when I was watching people's reactions, they probably think that they have a unique reaction, but that's what I wanted them to have. I wanted them to be like, "Ooh, what is this? Oh, it's happening." And then it switches to a board game and they're like, "Wait, what the fuck? What is this?"
Yeah.
I wanted it. I wanted that. And that's what I got. Because it's a tabletop game and a video game showcase.
Yeah.
But it, you know, they reached out to me because it's a tabletop game designed like a video game. Yeah. It fits the motif. It really connects. And so here I am with all the encouragement in the world, but it's still like we're watching a piece of me. And with it being in the showcase and it being covered by IGN and GameSpot and all these creators and such, now there is a wider audience than just a couple TikToks that I put out that not that many people have seen. To now have it be on these platforms is terrifying.
It's also exciting.
It is exciting because now it's like, oh, people can see what's there, but now it's like, well, what's next?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of what was going on in my head at that time. That's why I hid in the bathroom. As soon as the trailer came on, I booked it and ran to the bathroom.
Did you notice I was looking? I mean, you were sitting right next to me. Did you notice I kept looking?
I had no
you
idea.
Didn't? Yeah, I didn't think you did because I kept looking at you and I had a big grin on my face because I was all excited for you, buddy. So yeah, that was a cool moment. I thought it was I was very excited for you. It was a very cool moment.
Thank you. And it was a cool moment.
Yeah.
I am very harsh on myself, but I accept that it was a cool moment and I appreciate all of the love that I have gotten.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because also it's a cool game.
It is a cool game. Well, let's talk about this. So you've done some play testing.
Mm-hmm.
What feedback did you receive that surprised you the most when you did some of this play testing?
You know, honestly, not a ton. I think the feedback that surprised me the most was really just quality of life things. Like originally what I did is I had printed out essentially just these army men. So I have one prototype. That's all I have. And it's basically like these little army men kind of figures. And somebody who played it at PAX West, Scott, was like, why don't you like glue these onto like a plastic base? And I was like, probably because that makes too much sense. Like I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. And Jacob, Jacob as well, was like, that's why I made the player cards. He was like, hey, it would be cool if I had just like a little sheet that just said what I can do. You would think that something as simple as like a little sheet of what you can do would already be made, but it wasn't. Because I was so focused on how it played. And thankfully, like I said, like there wasn't a ton of feedback about how it was played. It was mainly like I said, quality of life things. So I'm very thankful. And like I said, like that sheet that I have right there, the game is different now, but it's not too much different than that paper. Because I really poured a lot of thought into balancing and making everything feel fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your game is on Kickstarter.
It is.
How can people support the game, and can you tell us like some of the tiers, the backer tiers that you're offering?
Yeah, so I think the best thing you can do to support if you don't have money is just going to Kickstarter, searching BattleVersus, and saving the campaign. Even like people don't realize, like if you don't have money, even saving the campaign, that kind of like traction and traffic is super helpful. Because even if like the Kickstarter isn't successful, if I run it again, I'm still going to have this historical data of how many people were interested. And that's going to be very impactful. And then as for the tiers, because the plan is if this Kickstarter works out, then I can do a limited launch, and the folks who support it, they're going to get copies of the game, because all the money is going to making the thing, and hiring artists and folks to help me make it. But the tiers, I think, they're fun. They're named after difficulty levels in Halo, with some other things added in. So you've got your heroic tier, your legendary tier, your mythic tier, your rookie tier. And they just like really stack going up. And then you get to God mode at the very end. And I found, I'm blanking on the artist name right now, but within the modding Doom community, somebody had made these like really cool, because I've always loved how the Doom guy's face got beat up like as time went on. So that's like the logo for each of those. And in God mode, so God mode is like the ultimate one, and so you get 4 copies of the game. But instead of it being like, everything in box, so it's 4 factions in like the singular game, these 4 copies are collector's editions, right? So you're going to get a zombie box, you're going to get a military box, or we call the MWB. I don't know why I just said we, it's just me. You'll get the pirate box, you'll get the ninja box, and they will have custom pieces. I will get your face scanned, and your face will be like one of the character pieces. So you will literally be in the game. And then get some cool custom dice as well. And like I said, if we hit this goal and we make the game, if the magnets are in there, you now have 4 copies of the game. You can do the big team battle. You can click it together and have all your friends come over and just have like a really good time.
That's awesome. I'll put a link obviously in the show notes for people to back the game. I have already, and I'm very excited to be able to play this game. Asa, is there anything you want to tell people before we head out? Anything you want to say about the game, or anything else that you want to shout out there in the universe about this game?
I'll give a couple things. So if you want to play the game, I'm going to be bringing it to Origins, which is held in Ohio. I'll be bringing it to PAX West. So if you're going to be in Seattle, you'll have a chance to play it there.
I'll be in Seattle.
Yeah, you will. And then I will be bringing it to GDEX, which is also in Ohio. And those are the planned shows right now. If I'm also in Ohio, so if you have an LGS nearby that I could pop in, like if you're wanting to play it, so like requesting me to play it, you can go to your local game store, say, hey, here's this game, we want to request them, and the game store can reach out to me, and kind of give me the details, and I can come out to them. And then also to kind of give like a Gamerheads like sneak behind the curtain. So there's 4 factions in the base game. At launch, there will be those 4 factions. I want people to be very familiar with those because they're going to be the easiest to understand. But there are, and let me pull it up because I made sure to have it ready.
This is an exclusive cut right here.
So I currently have 12 factions like fully built out. And that's including the base 4.
Wow.
And I will go ahead and talk about one of them because I'm also keeping some of them close to the chest because I want to. I always dream big. My hope is that I can partner with some big brands to like really like brand these factions, and you'll kind of get where I'm going at with the one I'm going to talk about. But there's one that is fully developed. It is probably, I mean, they're all my favorites, but this is like one of my favorite ones. I call them the Cosmic Galactic Rangers.
Okay. I can see where this is going.
Yes. And they are these super powered beings. You can morph. And when you morph, your abilities change. And if you can, in an act of desperation, and this is one of the ultimates that is dependent on how the battlefield is going. So if you have 5 to 6 of these rangers left over, if you can gather them into one place, or at least like within a certain vicinity, because it's not like all like right on each other, but it's if they can be semi near each other, if you have your ultimate, you can summon a giant robot, and that is your ultimate.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds really, really cool.
It wreaks havoc on the board. Some may say it's a little overpowered, and but the thing is if somebody can pull it together. So it's kind of like this telegraphed thing. You can see really what they're doing if you're paying attention. It's like, do you see Yu-Gi-Oh pulling together the cards of Exodia, right? Like, are you really paying attention? Because if you are, then you can stop it. But if you're not paying attention, that person's going to win the game.
That sounds so cool. Yeah, that's exciting. And I know you're a big fan of some show that we won't mention. So it's kind of cool that I know that.
What's wild is you can almost look at my shelf, and if you see something on the shelf, you can probably guess there's a faction semi-related to it.
That's awesome.
In the game.
That's awesome.
Or will be in the future.
Yeah. Well, Asa, thank you so much for joining me. Before we head out, where can people follow you then on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me if you search Asa GreenRiver. You can follow me pretty much anywhere. But I mainly check Blue Sky. That's where I'm at. If you just search a GreenRiver on Blue Sky, that's where I'm at. TikTok, I really should get better. I'm trying to get better, especially with this game being like the Kickstarter being out. I will be putting out more content. So if you want video content, search me on TikTok, and then Blue Sky for just updates, and then just whatever ramblings I put out there.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me again, Asa. And listeners, I'll put the link in the show notes. Go check it out. Back the game. Very excited for this game. Until next week, everyone, stay safe and game on. Bye.